Hey everyone, this is Pete. Welcome to Atari A to Z, an exploration of the Atari 8-bits library of games, some of which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the latter. This is Into the Eagle's Nest by Pandora. I do have some vague memories of this game. I believe we had the Atari ST version for a bit, but this is the Atari 8-bit version we're looking at here. So, for the unfamiliar, this is a game set in World War II, in which you play an operative attempting to rescue prisoners from a Nazi fortress. So, we are the green dude down here. The grey dudes are Nazis, they are bad. And they take 2 hits to kill. They also only hurt you when they get very close to you, so you can use that to your advantage if you're in cover. Now, this is actually quite an interesting game because there's a lot of resource management going on in this. So you have to make sure that you conserve your ammunition, for example, because you've only got a limited amount of it. Although you can find little stockpiles of it here. You can only carry up to 99 at a time, and if you pick some up when you've already got 99, then you've just wasted that ammo cache, which is something you don't want to be doing. So you can take up to 50 hits from the Nazis, and you'll see that you take damage just by being close to them, basically. So you need to try and shoot them from a distance. And you can heal yourself with food or first aid kits, but those are obviously pretty few and far between. So you want to try and keep out of trouble as much as you possibly can. Taking a bit too much damage there for my liking, but let's continue exploring. So this is often compared to Gauntlet, but it's a bit slower paced than Gauntlet is. There's things like you can only move in 4 directions, and it's almost like a kind of a primitive stealth game in some ways. Okay, so there's no sort of mechanic for being spotted and being in cover and that sort of thing, but it does benefit you to try and stay out of sight and position yourself in such a way that you can hit the enemies without them being able to hit you, for example. Okay, this is a chest here, so I believe we can shoot this to open it. Or maybe not. Ah, there we go. Got to actually line your gun up with it. So these are all empty. Stock up on some ammunition as well. And these pendants and things that you pick up, those are purely for points. So they're sort of art treasures that the Nazis have stolen. So you collect those to get extra points and sort of extra credit on your mission. And it's a non-linear game as well, so you're not sort of working your way to the end point of a level. You're exploring each floor of this castle in an attempt to try and find your objective. So you don't have to uncover everything. Once you think you found what you're looking for, you can move on to the next floor. In order to do that, you need a lift pass to use the elevator, which we haven't found yet. I'm going to assume it's either carried by one of these bad boys or just lying around somewhere. Oh dear. This is sort of a proto-Wolfenstein in many ways. And I'm talking the original Wolfenstein here, not Wolfenstein 3D. I believe that did actually also come out on the Atari 8-bit, but it's not a game I'm at all familiar with. I'm just familiar with Wolfenstein 3D that came later. But nonetheless, I remember this being quite well received when it was originally released. So it's a fairly... Ooh dear. Going to die. It's a fairly simplistic game. It's not overly complicated, but it does have a few interesting twists on the usual sort of maze and shooter formulas. Oh, and it's got a bit more depth to it than Gauntlet has as well. Oh dear. Oh, I found a lift pass. So I can actually go to another floor now if I wanted to. Oh, and it might be a really good idea too, because there's hundreds of Nazis. Let's use the Diablo method. Oh, I'm dead. The Diablo method is not dying. The Diablo method is standing in a doorway until and picking off things one at a time. But oh well, that was that. Okay, so that is Into the Eagle's Nest by Pandora. It's an interesting one. I might spend a bit more time with that, try and get a better feel for it. So it's fairly simple to understand, but otherwise it's got a bit of challenge to it as well. So this is from 1988, so it's a relatively late one. This one actually came out on the XE game system as well, the console version of the Atari XE computer. So this was released as a cartridge game as well as on disc and tape when it first came out. So that is Into the Eagle's Nest. As I say, this is available for a few other platforms as well, including Atari ST, Commodore 64 and a few others. So do check it out on one of those if this looked interesting to you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.